The unfortunate Chrisland School saga is leaving so many questions unanswered, and one of which is, who should be held responsible? Is it the school or faith parenting? Anyway, before I dive right into the story proper, my name is Glory Brown on TSLNIGERIA TV, and this is how I welcome you to Hot Stuff Wednesday, where we bring you the gist hot, spicy, and juicy. I and my girls will be having a talk on the recent school saga that happened among minors of Chrisland School who went to Dubai for an international competition on the World Game. Remember, you can join the conversation by dropping your comments on the comment section below, because along the line, we're going to be taking some of your reactions. Okay, guys, it's time for us to go on a quick break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, it's still Hot Stuff Wednesday. Stick around. Welcome right back to the show. It's still your favorite breakfast show on TSLNIGERIA TV, Hot Stuff Wednesday. And with me in the studio today are my two amazing ladies, Joy Matthew and Becky, aka the Tough Queen.
Okay.
You guys,
Hello,
so pleased to
hello.
have you on set.
Good morning.
And today we are going to be talking about the Chrisland School saga, Immorality among young children. Now, the story all started when Ubi Franklin, who is a music boss label, took to his Instagram account to share a story of how his friend's 10-year-old daughter was allegedly raped in a competition they went over in Dubai. And after some time, the parent, let's say the mom of the girl, came out, she did a video and started narrating how her daughter was being raped. On a normal situation, I don't think anybody will have anything to do with a minor video in such acts. Like, people wanted to see a video of minors committing such acts. It was just because Franklin said it was a rape case, and the mom was still saying it was a rape case. So, Becky, now, this question is for you. I believe you've seen the video.
I have.
So, in your own opinion, was it truly a rape case, just like they were saying on the internet?
It was not a rape case.
Why?
There were what I saw were two minors enjoying themselves. You could literally see the excitement.
Oh,
in the
really?
video, and there were people in the background.
Okay.
So they were enjoying themselves.
So, Joy, do you agree to what Becky just said?
First off, this is a very sensitive issue. Like, from the onset, seeing the videos, seeing reactions, it has really unsettled me a whole lot. Now, coming to the question, is this a rape case? Yeah, Becky said something. Two minors enjoying themselves, but I don't know. It's really disturbing for me to say yes, this is two minors enjoying, because really that is some eyesore right there.
Yeah.
I don't consider it a rape case. I would not entirely say that yes, two minors are enjoying themselves. This is just immorality at its peak.
So
this
for
is
you, it's not rape.
it's not a rape case.
Okay.
If that's what you're asking, I don't
Talking
consider
about
it a
from
rape
the start,
case.
I was talking about the incident leaving so many questions among us. In your own opinion, Joy, do you think the school should be blamed, or the parents of the girl should be blamed?
Okay, so I see surrounding factors here. Children involved in an act like that at that young age, there are so many factors here. So people would easily say, oh, the parents have failed. People would say, this is a school trip. And then some persons, I would subscribe to that thought too, and say the society, this is how much our society has, gotten rotten. But if I really have to play the blame game and put it on somebody right now, I'll put it on the school. Why?
Why the school?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll put it on the school. So these children committed this act. Where did this happen? Far away from home. Under whose watch, under whose guide were they? Because they are minors. So at every point in time, minors have people that are responsible for them. At that point in time, their parents were relaxed because I have paid the school
So for
to
you
do
now,
a good job. Yes, the school is to be blamed.
All
Yes.
the blames, or
All the are we talking about the Chrisland situation, or are we talking about the upbringing of the children?
I'm talking
totally?
about the situation first.
For the situation, the school is to be blamed, because really, what is that? Like, this happened under your watch. Like, let's not even start to ask, oh, this is where, let's not even go psychological now and say, where did this child learn this from? This happened under your watch. Take responsibility.
That's good.
And then the way the school is even handling the matter. Good riddance. Let me not say
Becky, so for you now, you've seen the story. Do you agree to what Joy is saying? Is the school to be blamed or the parents? Do you think it's a situation of failed parenting?
The school is to be blamed, the parents are also to be blamed, and the minors are to be blamed themselves, because some children or some teenagers, they just naturally have this desire to be stubborn, and then when they're home, they give this false version of themselves, so their parents do not really know who they are until they step out.
And they want to, and they really want to explore the things.
So why I'm saying that the school should be, I like how you just said that this might not be the reality that the parents are used to. The mother would be surprised, like, no, and that's why the mother is probably living in denial and saying that, oh, this is a rape case, this is not my daughter. My daughter cannot do this.
So
all of this
said earlier from the first question, you talked about how parents were very comfortable sending their school outside because definitely they know such schools will definitely have things put in place and people put in place to make sure their children are being looked after.
Chrisland School is one of the most.
Which brings
if
us.
we talk about expensive schools.
Yeah,
yes.
which brings me to the next question now.
Okay.
Like, expensive school, does this equal proper training?
Naturally, it's supposed to. So if I'm buying something cheap, I expect that there will be flaws. I expect that this thing would not last long. So if I go to Bend Down Select to buy skirt and the skirts give way, probably has wardrobe malfunction, I see this coming for the price that I bought this. But then if I'm buying something very expensive, maybe going to one of these very big, well-known brands, I don't expect you to treat me in that way. So coming back to schools, people pay a lot of money because they know that their children are precious to them. If I wanted to see this and see it as a usual thing, I would go to one school in
but with the situations happening now,
with low, probably their teachers are not well paid. I would not even be surprised if it was one of these schools. To an extent, I would not be surprised because, well, look at the society. But I pay this much for conducive environment. I pay this much for proper training, and this is what I get. This school
from the situation we're seeing now, that's true. From the situation we're seeing right now, we've seen cases like this when it happened to Sylvester Oromoni from Duane College, and still the fees was still very expensive. So Becky, same question. Do you think expensive schools equal proper training and maybe the teachers there can do a lot job like the parents?
There are lots of dysfunctional adults out there, but because you say, oh, they are adults, you're expecting them to have their shit together, right? But then again, you cannot give what you don't have. A lot of parents, adults, if I would say so, are still trying to navigate themselves through life, navigate their way through life. So they don't really have it all together. And then projecting this, indecisive exactly onto the children that are looking up to them. So to a large extent, I would say the school, the parents, and like I said the first time, the minors are to be blamed.
So for you, expensive school does not really mean they will give the children proper education, proper training.
It does.
Then let's talk about parental guidance now. Let's talk about parental guidance. Lately we've seen a lot of career women. They barely have time for kids. They are struggling, not like they're not trying to be there, but we see them chasing their careers, trying to do all the things for themselves and failing among, despite the fact that they are neglecting the children aside. So to you, parental guidance, does it have a major role to play in situations like this?
It does. It does have a major role to play because they are your children. If you don't look out for them, who will?
Because a lot of people are saying they don't need to blame the school. They are blaming parents for not doing their best.
Okay. So like Becky
properly.
said when she started off, everybody has a shelf, has a portion of blame to hold on to. But when you asked me in this very situation, why I blamed the school the most was because this happened within their vicinity. This happened within their watch. Yes. But regardless, when you say parental guidance, now let's look at this just outside the situation. Let's look at this outside what happened. This did not happen, like she said, minors enjoying themselves. How did minors know that this is an act of pleasure? It's something that they have seen probably before now, and they just had that opportunity to practice. Parental guidance, I always say this, parenting is a full-time job. And I want to say that I do not give a flying F what your career path is. The moment you decide that I want to have a child, you are deciding that I would be responsible for that child. You are deciding that I would give what it takes to bring this child up in the best way. Yes, I know that it's a society that raises up a child. Personally, you are the child's first semblance of a society. The mother, the father, you are the first semblance of society. So while the school has portions to hold on to, portions of blame to say, yes, they pay you this much. Like I said, a lot of adults are not really true with this adulting thing. They don't really have it all figured out. And then the next thing you have a child, please don't don't kid yourself. It's not this is not a fairy tale story. This is real life. So if you do not have your stuff together, and then you now have to bring a child into the society that is going to do their best to corrupt. So I don't think that parental guidance. Yes, there is a role, because if you had it all figured out, not that anybody has it all figured out, but to an extent, you would have seen traces of this before now.
Just so you know, we're live on Facebook. Feel free to drop your reactions on our comment section, because we're still going to be taking some of your comments right away. Now, talking about parental guidance, you know, parents feel they can actually give their children anything to make them feel better. And these days, we can see minors, 13, 12 years, holding a very expensive phone with full internet subscription and without any parental control. They have the right to explore and do whatever they want to do. At what age, Becky, do you think a child should be exposed to the internet properly? At what age do you think is right enough?
Until they are mature enough to know the right things to feed themselves.
So age really doesn't matter in this aspect?
The internet is a very good research tool. Are we trying to dispute that fact? It's a very good research tool. But I feel like it will be better, or it will serve better if it is supervised.
Okay.
If the usage of internet by teenagers are supervised, it's going to serve better.
Okay. So,
yes, I totally agree with Becky. So when you say age, it varies. You can see a 15-year-old. I don't know if I should bring in the gender thing now.
Okay.
What a 15-year-old girl is aware of because of how puberty eats them up early, a 15-year-old boy might not have full knowledge of that already. I understand why you're bringing up this question of technology, seeing that this went viral with technology. Yeah. True. But regardless, we cannot say because there is a flaw in this. This happened. It happened. Whether or not it was recorded
before, but I just
whether or not it was recorded, it happened. So we're not going to say, oh, technology did a bad thing there. No, technology did not do a bad thing there. It's training, it's guidance that has failed in that situation, not technology.
Then lately, we've seen and heard stories of how students in school are being raped by teachers sometimes, and then we've seen and heard a lot of stories too. So, regarding to this, do you think we can consider homeschool, like you getting a teacher for your child to come teach him or her all subjects in the house, like homeschool? What's your take on homeschool right now regarding to this topic?
I'm indifferent.
Because some people will be very scared to say, how do I take my child out there amidst all these things happening right now in the society? So do you think homeschool will be a very good option?
Even if they are homeschooled, situations will require them to leave the house eventually, right?
True.
And if they still want to absorb whatever characters that are outside and behaviors and all of that, they still would. So it all boils down to parenting, guidance, what you feed them with, what they have access to.
At what stage do you think a child can be free to open up? At what stage? Because some parents, I don't know about you, right growing up, my dad was very strict. So when you see him, you get scared. So there is no way I can actually go to my dad and open up to him.
Okay, so this question just answered something that I was talking with a friend some days back, and I traced and said, okay, probably if we were colonized by France, maybe this would all be different. Why? You see, I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it regardless. Have you seen the movie Bridgerton? How having sex education conversation is always rigid. Probably that's the way Britain is, and then they passed it on to us. But with France and all the countries that they did colonize, it's an easygoing conversation. Your parents know that, oh yes, you're coming of age. They know that, yes, your emotions are beginning to kick in,
You know, back
and
then,
all of that.
back then they would tell you with stars. They don't tell you directly.
That's the issue. That's where I was coming to. So, in Britain, it's considered, these conversations are considered, you know, itchy-bitchy. They are not things that should be said in public. They are not conversations they are things that you should know, you should learn just by saying.
Okay.
But it's not so. Now, that's another issue. Now, some parents have, I don't know how best to put it. This boy, because everybody keeps saying this girl, where did she learn this from? But she had it this happened with some other person, you understand? Why is nobody talking about the education that the boy had? Because if the boy was better educated, he would come up and say, no, I'm a gentleman, or I'm going to be a gentleman, I'm not going to do this, I'm better than this. I don't know if you get the point I'm trying to say. So it's still, I don't think there's a certain age. It all boils down to personal connection. I always plead with parents, have this personal connection with your children. A 10-year-old child, that girl is not 10, everybody keeps saying she's 10, she's 13 actually. A 10-year-old child knows this things. I'll tell you that, no, this is not just right, because I've had this conversation with my mom, because my mom said so. You understand? Because they have that, parenting is a full-time job. Whether or not you are paying a huge sum of money, which does not excuse the school. It's a full-time job. Have this connection with your children, whether they are 10, whether they are 8. The world is evolving. People are learning these things younger than the way you did. Puberty now hits people at the age of 8. Yes. So before now, you probably wait till you're in your teen, 13, 14 to experience puberty. Puberty is not waiting anymore. We have younger mothers now. So all of these are reasons why there is no age requirement for sex education. Like you tell yourself that, no, I'm waiting for her to fully have boobs, or I'm waiting for her to be in secondary school. No, these things are even happening in primary schools. Just because we have not heard of any of them, these things are happening in primary school. Just because none of them have been brought to limelight in that vein, these things are happening in primary school. And I would hate to think probably in nursery school between, like you said, older adults, misplaced adults. So there is no time, there is no particular age.
There's no perfect time. Meaning, what you're saying is there's no perfect time for the children to
as soon as possible, have that connection with your children. Yeah. Don't wait and say, I'll tell him or her on her 18th birthday, I'll tell him or her on her 13th birthday.
Let's talk about the school environment for some time. You know, the school environment is a place where you have different children from different backgrounds. And let's say, for instance, you've been trying to make sure yours comes up properly. But what do you have to say about the other children he or she is going to mingle with? You understand? Now, the factor of long hours in school. Some parents, they take their children to school in the morning and then you're seeing them by 5. Don't you think it also has a role to play? Because when they close, they have the right to mingle with other children from different walks of life, and they explore, they say things they see in the house, and then they do things they want to do. Because the teachers are already exhausted from their work time. Long hours in school, should it be curbed? Should we put an end to after school care, or we can still adopt the culture?
I don't think after school care, I don't think like spending long hours in school can help the situation in any way. It may be able to help in some cases, but in this case, I seriously doubt, because a lot of teachers or parents are very unapproachable. And this makes it difficult for children to come and confide in them. And however, the desire to do bad things are actually very high. It is high because it requires minimal effort and physical effort, and you know, you are just naturally having that desire to do bad things over good things.
This that you just said still circles back to parental guidance. So if you, I don't know how it is for other persons. I would disclaim, I don't know how it is for other persons. If you grow up in a family where there is this zeal to want to be good, there is this, I don't know, expectation to be good, you see yourself wanting, like the thought of, you know, if you do a bad thing, it's dragging you down against your goal. I understand what you said about the desire, yes, because that's the norm. That's what society places as the norm. Everybody's doing it. So you too, you want to do it.
Yeah.
But regardless, I still think that that's where parental guidance comes in, and that's where parenting has failed in that situation. Now, we have some comments from our Facebook live. Remember that we're live, and you too can drop your comments. I'll just quickly take some of the comments that we have already. So, Mulikat said, I keep asking myself who is to be blamed. I think it's the parents. And Adish says charity begins at home. It is the duty of the parents to watch over their children, especially when they get to puberty stage. Although the parents may not know who the children is meeting with, because sometimes friends also influence. Very true. Now, another person, James, says, it's not a rape case. I would say the video being released in the first place was not a good idea. This was something that could have been handled privately without the world knowing about it. I don't know. I do not entirely subscribe to that, because if the video had not come out, the school would have suppressed this. Nobody would have known. Did you see the comfort with which these children were doing that? Nobody would have known. So it's a good thing that this came up. Let's discuss it. Let's have this conversation. It's unsettling, but we still need to. Okay, Abdul Rashid said the home is the first place where children have their first learning. And if you as a parent cannot provide proper guidance for your kids, then fail on you. Yes, if this happens, well, my issue is this happened within the vicinity, within the watch of the teachers. It's just a reflection of parenting.
It's just a reflection of parenting too.
Okay, another comment. I like how the video is linked out, because the school will cover the whole thing. Will they allow their school to be tarnished? Did you see the report that the school gave? Same thing. Okay, Prosper says, most of you don't even know what your children knows. You might think that you're bringing them up in the right way, but it's when they leave your premises. The parents are not innocent. The scandal happened in the school premises. It happened under the watch of the school. Why do schools separate boys' hostel from girls' hostels? Remind me. Thank you very much, Prosper, because this, I like how people are watching and seeing that there are loopholes in this storyline. Okay, Abdul Rashid said, to me, I don't think the school knew anything about this incident. Talk about concealing it. The school is a popular place, and also they know such would be of bad public relations for them. Kids are very funny with their acts. The girl in question was at the top of the act, and I want to believe she started it first by asking for a truth or dare game. And I want to believe that it was the dare that led to this act. That's so many conspiracy theory right there. Prosper said that the fact that those children was doing it comfortably shows that there is no single restriction from the school, and they probably have been doing it before. This one just leaked out. Omolane says, to me, we should blame the society, especially our celebrity. Wow. Okay. They are very loose and indisciplined. All the market is nudity. From the music, movie, comedy, they have all missed the line. Celebrity are the major issues we have in this country. Are we there already? Wow, I thought our politics was our issue. Okay. Celebrities are the major issues we have in this country. Wonderful. They come up with stupid challenges that makes the public do crazy things. Just imagine, I came across the post where Don Jazzy was caressing a woman, and since that day, almost every youth now, really, okay, I'll just keep. Until we start condemning this, the society will continue to be as it is. This is why some countries are very strict with internet usage, yet we condemn such countries. Only God will help this generation. Nowadays, a 16-year-old is sorry she has a boyfriend. Okay. The internet is a big place, a lot of things to learn from. I advise you shouldn't take it away from them. Just guide them on what to do with the internet. Thank you, Prosper. And finally, Abdul Rashid, I'm sorry, this has to be the last I can take on the show. Gentlemen, indeed, dear, there was a game of truth and dare, and the dare caught the game. Okay, in a game of truth and dare, it's either you accept, okay, I feel that this is becoming really driving us into vulgarity, and that's not what we want to promote on the show. So basically, everybody has a say, and that's the issue. So some persons are saying that this did not happen with the school's knowledge.
Talking about the schools, we've seen the case of Duane. Something similar like this happened, but then the government shut down the school. Then parents still took their children back to the school. What's your take on that, Becky? Taking your child back to the school that had same scandal of such things happening before we wrap it up.
It should be completely discarded. If you still want to take your child to a place where something like this happens, I feel like if we start taking actions and if we start acting on the things that we see, the society is going to be better.
I think some persons look at strictness from a different angle, and it's really disturbing. I was watching a documentary yesterday, Audible, and these children, they were deaf. But there was a particular boy, the parents took him to a school where they can hear. He cannot hear. He used to be with his friends and all of them could not hear. But the parents took him out of this school and it was really disturbing for him. It was stressful, like coping and all of that. And at the end of the day, he had to hang himself. I don't know how the parents get to live with it, but they should bear some part of the guilt because you saw the signs. You knew that this was not just the environment fit for your child. With the situation of the Dowen School, I think we had the conversation on this show and we talked about how, what are the standards? There was a time that an headmistress' son flogged a 2-year-old child to death. What are the standards that they use in opening these schools? What are the standards that they use? Okay, now you took children on a trip. Are they not supposed to be on these different rooms? What are the standards that these schools put in check to say, even if these people are not my children, I am paid to cater for them? What are the standards that they put in place?
What are the standards they are putting in place for this not to occur again?
So it's better that they close the show.
And this moves us to the last question, Beck. What are your advice to young ones out there who are already on the path of making such mistake without knowing the consequences? What are your advice for them?
Okay, parents, be more approachable to your children, supervise their internet. And this brings us to the end of today's show. We're hoping that you follow us on all social media platforms. Until we come your way again next time, goodbye.
Stay connected to TSL Nigeria and get updates on the go all day, every day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on TSL Nigeria Space TV and join our online family.